All right, this is the Xcode editor. Uh, I tested to develop a small first small cell phone apps so that you will do this for your first homework assignments. So we'll start together this, not today, hopefully next or after that. But I'm going to give you some hints, uh, and I want you to be motivated a little bit from this. So if you run this, what happens here is this is the app that I implemented last night. But what you will do is a little bit of more extension. Okay, so if I put here this Sam, and then year in college, maybe 3 years, third year, junior, and then there's a two button, echo or more. I didn't implement all, but a little bit of this implemented. When I click this echo, then echo Sam and 3 together to generate. Sam is in 3 year at college, okay, and then and then what I ask you to do, of course, I'm going to guide you a little bit. Make this a little intelligent and more uh, 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 aggregation. So I want to add more. Having third year in college, uh, for each year you may have something to do, list of work. Okay, if there's a 3 year, then remember that dictionary. Then number 3 is associated with, for example, in the 30 years, then you can choose whether you want to do a dual degree or whatever. In cybersecurity or internship or any projects, whatever you could do for the third year that you recommend. And fourth year, then you can do writing a resume and so on and so forth. Sophomore and freshman, and fifth year for master's program, you could do more and more. So if you click here more, then it'll be attached. It's not really mechanic attachment, but make it a little more intelligent. By intelligence, I mean that we'll learn also the random number generation. So for third year, and by entering name and college, then by the way, you can ask, oh, did you finish all the general education? Something like that. Okay, so you can add more and more and more. By the name again, name is the keyword. So you can by saving this, see here save button. By saving this, next time when the same Sam comes, and you can say some related questions. Okay, that type of things will be implemented. This is the first homework assignments. So this is a design that you need to do. Okay, but we'll come back to this later. But for today, we'll do playground, right? So hmm. think we've done this. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and then Xcode. One Xcode, so storyboard. I think I need to have any playground here. No, so I'm going to Xcode here. Oh, this new playground. Okay, so my playground 2, iOS, next, and create that here. Oh, we already have that. Then we will do number 3. Create. Oh, we still have that already. My playground 17-2. All right, so we have a playground successfully here, and this is Xcode, so I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to close this. Okay, this is the if statements that we looked at. I think partly because this HDMI does not take signal from my MacBook. Therefore, screen is blur a little bit, right? It's not really clear. It's still okay. So we looked at this last class, if, else if, and else statements. So if I want to oh no. Not really familiar with this. Let's watch. So I need to come back here to use slideshow. Ah, this is what I want. Okay, so we have if statements, and else if, and else. Okay, so by having this if, else if, else if, else if, else if, finally else statements, we can make a decision, right? Based upon condition. So we can have Q is greater than 5 or Q is less than 5, otherwise whatever, right? So depending upon the condition, after that, if the condition, and then we have curly braces. So within curly brace, so this is open curly brace, and close curly brace. In this block, action block, you can print. Okay, I know some of you, including myself, sometimes confused between the two languages that we actively use, Swift and Python. Actually, they are somehow similar, but not exactly the same, which means confusion, right? So, as far as two languages are being used, you might have that problem. I'm not sure if you speak English and French, whatever others, Arabic, or you speak Arabic, French, English. More than that? Oh, that's too much. Too much. Huh? Right. So, don't you have any confusion while you are speaking multiple languages? Sometimes you use French in English and vice versa. Same thing here, right? But it's not the case, for example, Korean and English. Two languages are completely different. There's no similarity at all. But when I speak Korean language and Japanese language are very similar in a way that the grammar, almost all other languages, the, the, the sentence structure in this way: subject, verb, and objects, right? But Korean and Japanese, subject, object, and verb. Verb comes always the last. What about Hindu or you're from Bangladesh? Bangladesh. You speak Hindi? Huh? Bengali. Bengali. Then is it? How about your language? The sentence structure. It's subject. Subject, verb. So subject and verb comes first, right? And then followed by objects. What about? Portuguese is the same. It's like English. Like English, right? What about you? Oh. so yeah, I think not many, right? What about Turkish? I think Turkish is similar to Korean because Turkish Korean stems from the same origins. Ural Altai language, as far as I know. Turkish, Korean, what other language? I think Mongolian. Japanese language is modified from Korean and Chinese. How do you know that? So Japanese language is a mixture, Chinese and Korean. Grammar took Korean grammar, and then letter, Japanese letter took Chinese character. It is called the kanji, and then Japanese kanji is nothing but Chinese language, Chinese character. Plus, they have their own language, their own alphabets, which is obsolete, very old Korean language. So Korean destroyed it, which is picked up by Japanese, and they developed. But anyway, it's a language. It's a little bit different, but it's not really a big problem, right? Finally, at one point, you simply use one language, right? Right now, we are learning, and I am teaching the two languages the same day. There's no break. No time break. So, and also when I prepare, I need to prepare one. Immediately I need to prepare another. So two different languages, but luckily they are similar. But the problem is that they are not exactly the same. Syntax is not the same either. If you want to,
sorry
good to see you. So if you want to see here in the string, if you want to put a variable, then you can do in this way: backslash and open parenthesis and close parenthesis. This is a variable, right? Unless otherwise, if you want to do this separately, then you need to put here comma and q. Then it should work. But if you want to put this inside, then you have to do this. Or you can do simply open parenthesis, like print open parenthesis and q and comma, and then we have the rest of the sentence is greater than 5 and so on and so forth. Okay, this is case statement. I think that what we looked at last time. This is a compound switch. Okay. All right. Next one is for loop. Okay, for loop, while loop, for loop. Similarly, other languages has while loop and for loop. Here, while in loop and for in loop, which means you have two keyword, for and in. See here, for, in. This is very similar to Python, right? For I in, and then we put here the list. Then all the list can be considered, which is here. For element in list. Names is nothing but list here. So that it works this way. Or this is a for. If you have a pair-wise, remember this is a pair, very similar to the dictionary in Python, right? Pair two values. So first value may be the key, second value may be a value to that, and in between we have a colon. For loop also applied to that. For in loop, you have a list of a pair, and you take one each, a pair, so that you can make this. I think we did this last time, right? And variable while loop, or repeat and while condition and while condition. Okay, I think we did this last time. So string. This is also very similar to Python, but syntax-wise, they are not exactly the same. Remember that for character in and mercy, each individual character can be accessed, right? In Python. Same thing here. But in Swift, if you want to do it, then you need to call this dot characters. If you do not have this, then you do not have. So we will practice this. This is a character. If you want to declare this as a character, this is a constant a, which is nothing but character, colon, and this means colon in Swift, as I said, that is an object of a class. So let's assume this is a character class, then this is a specific instance of that class object. Yeah, character objects. Or you can think another way. A is a constant. By the way, we can put here annotation. There is a character. And then more specifically, we can declare one of the characters here. So another constant, A is a constant, but that is an array of character, an array of character. And then you initialize it. Let's see if we have another. Okay, so there's a string. So let's make that in our playground. Which one is our playground? Is this our playground? What do we have here? Oh, here. So we already have here. So we can practice. For character in, we'll practice for in, and then mercy, cybersecurity, and then if we say print ch, what happens? There's an error, right? It says type string does not conform to protocol sequence. So if we want to make a string a sequence of character, then you need to put dot and then character. See, there is a suggestive attributes. So simply take it. If you click that, character. So that you have an answer here, right? Each, so bottom here, mercy, cybersecurity. From there. That is possible. And then as we looked at let A, let's say A is exclamation mark. Still okay, right? And then let B is A, comma, B, comma, C, and enter. Still okay, but if you want to do, then you can simply character. Then it makes more sense. But here C, what is the C? Single quote. Oh, so all other things. Wait a minute. Oh, you can do A, B, C. So for I in B, print I, so you have ABC here. Right? Here's a string. Okay. And then collection type. It's like a data type in many other languages that you can find. Array. Array, pictorially explained that way. You have index starting from 0 and values associated with it. So that if you want to access, for example, a particular value, then that value can be accessed through index. And there is a sequence along that index. Can be empty somewhere, but there is a sequence. Set, on the other hand, there is also value. Okay. But all of the values here should be unique. That is a set. In mathematics, a set does not allow any duplicates. That is taken into consideration here in Swift. Array can have a multiple, duplications. Doesn't really care as far as all the elements are in the same type, but not the set. Dictionary is a list of pairs, keys, and values. Okay, keys and values. So we'll look at each of these. Yeah, before we do, we'll look at tuple. Tuple is like this. If you have constant equals, so whatever you have here, right? 404 not found, or yeah, if you have that, then, and also you can specify the first element is status code. The second element is the message for that. After you declare these two, then you can access. Okay, what is the status code? Then it returns 404. What is the status message? Then it returns not found. So this, because this is tuple, all the elements here all together constitutes one object. That's what this can do. Okay. And also, if you do this, then HTTP for error .0, then code can be plugged in. And if you said .1, then second one, .3, and third one, and fourth one Because it's a tuple, then you could have a multiple of those as a tuple. So tuple is not really main topic that I want to discuss with you, but here on array. Array is ordered list. It has an order because it is indexed. It is accessed by index, and it remains all the same here in Swift. And all the values here in Swift should be the same type. Okay, should be the same type. So this is a formal language, ordered list and same type. Remember that this array index starts from 0. An array can be created in many ways. Some number equals and type and then empty. It's not assigned any value yet. Okay, simply you declare the variable some num is an array of integer. That's what it does. Okay, so array can be created this way or that way. Array can be created, oh, I'm sorry, only this, that one. This is insertion, I'm sorry, insertion. Okay, once you have an array created, then you can append with the element to it. Then it can be inserted in that order. How do you access? The way that you can access is simply the for in loop is possible. For j in and this some num. This is what we looked at, right? Previous. This is an array. Or you can do it in this way. This j is an element. Here j is an index. Okay, I want to manipulate in this indexes only. So index comes from 0 till the size of this array. Size of that array is taken from dot count. Remember that dot count is also available in Python, right? Either the list name dot count, or you can simply say len. Len is a built-in function. So len open parenthesis and then list name there. But in this case, this gives you the size of an array. But because it starts from 0, 0 dot dot, but that should be less than that number. So it could be 0 dot dot 1, could be 0 dot dot 5, could be 0 whatever that, but it stops right before the size of that array. And then when you print the element, then you need to access with the index that you manipulate here to the array. It's a little different, right? Because this. So first one is by index. Second one is by element. By element. Array with default value. So if you want to create an array and then put the default value, then you can make this some array equals array, open parenthesis, and repeating 7, count to 2, count to 3, count to 2. Okay, you want to repeat the 7. Wait a minute. So let's try to find out what it means. Okay. So back here. We can practice it simply. Say variable sum array equals array, and then repeating what? The element. I want to repeat element to say 7, and how many of those? I want to repeat to 7 2 times, then 7 7, right? And 3 times, then 7 7 7. 7 7 7 is a good sign, right? If you go to Las Vegas. If we put here A, then A. Mercy. Then you can make again bar sum to repeating 3, count 7, that, and then you can say my array is sum array plus sum array 2. Oh. So there is an error. Why? You may read this, but by the definition, array should be elements, all the elements in the same array should be in the same type, right? This sum ARR array is an array of string. Sum ARR2 is an array of integer. So array is because of type mismatch, right? So if you change this to 7 here, then it should work. Okay, so we have a 7 7 7 3 3 3 3. So array can be created many ways. Array can be created by default value. Array can be created by, as we said, some num equals, say, int. That is another creation, right? This is by declaration. Uh, initialization with default values. Another way that you can array is we looked at that already, right? String and equals, and then you can put here mercy NYU CUNY and so on and so forth. You can append MIT. Okay, so college list can have this. So in addition to Mercy NYU CUNY, and then you have MIT. We can insert. If you want to insert, then you need to new element and add. This is the index and the new element. See here, there is a suggestion. So take it into consideration. So here you can say Yale. I want to put that in the second. We need to put here at equal at colon 1. Okay. Therefore, we have a Mercy, Yale, NYU, CUNY, MIT. So Swift is also very, very powerful, simple and powerful language. Not only Python, right? Yes.
Swift only for iOS developer?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. I think right now, yeah. It should be multi-platform.
I read that it's getting implemented in more.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because Swift is and most recent and most not most sophisticated, most recent, powerful language and easy to learn like Python. But Python is not really formal, not based upon formal foundation. But Swift is. Therefore, it could be extended to any a Linux operating system first, and then extend it to any platform like Windows and some others in the near future, right? So if you want to do a for loop, then I in call list, and then you can do print I, right? Then we have here mercl, whatever that. But at the same time, if you want to do in another way, like index, then 0 dot dot, and then less than count. Okay, and print, then it returns a 0 dot dot 5. But if you want to do here, call list that, then no, should be array index like this. Then it gives you mercy array, whatever that, right? So either way will be possible. I would like to say here for in index. Another way here, for I in then I would say for in element. For in index list, for in element list. The output is not the same. Here, if you do this array, then it gives us the array type, right? If you want to take it as an element, then it returns element by element, right? Another thing that you may consider is if there is enumerated this, then it says enumerated sequence of array, enumerated sequence of array of list. Enumerated. What is enumerated? It has some ordered list and with the number, right? So I'm going to use that in the for loop. For example, I would say the index, comma, and value in call list and enumerated. And then if I want to print, I'd say index item is the value of that at index So what happens here is that if I do this, then as you look at one index, we simply say, so one index, first index is a Mercy at the index 0. Second index is Yale at index 1. Third index, NYU at the index 2, and so on and so forth. Somehow, if you want to list them with the order, then you can do like this, enumerated function. So enumerated function is used. If you want to modify, for example, this is an array right now, right? College list. If you want to modify, let's say third as a CUNY, right? If you modify it to say CMU, and then call list, then now Mercy, Yale, NYU, CMU, MIT, right? Third element, fourth element, which is index 3, is updated. So update is simple. Set is similar to that. I set. If you want to declare set as, say, a letter that is a set of string like this and open and close. That is a declaration of an array as set. So set declaration. Okay. So you can say ltl.insert and you can say Mercy ltl insert NIU. Fine. So if you said LTL, enter, then LTL is Mercy and NIU. But if you do LTL insert Mercy again, here's a false, right? What happened there? LTR insert Mercy. What is LTR? So print LTR so Mercy NIU. There's no error, but yeah, there's no error, but if you do not in this way, but variable LTR2, and that is a set of string equals Mercy, comma, Mercy, comma, NIU. See what happens. Aha. Although I entered it twice, it returns only one Mercy, right? That is the set. This is initialized. Similar to if I do, for example, string equals the same one, exact same one. Oops. Back up. Okay, so copy, paste. Okay, so if I do the same one, Mercy, Mercy, NIU, Mercy, Mercy, NIU, to the set LTR2, and I print LTR2, then LTR2 is maintains the feature of set. On the other hand, for the string or array of string, then that it contains everything. As far as elements are in the same type, then array remains valid. But if it is a set, then not only that, it checks the uniqueness of elements. Okay. So this is initialization of set. This is initialization of array. If we're going to say here like this. If it is a set, then that works. If it's an array, and that works, right? Sounds okay? Dictionary. Dictionary is a list of pairs of unique key and values associated with it. Okay, so dictionary can be defined in this way. Some dictionary equals, say, integer, comma, string. And then this. This is a declaration, right? And then to insert, simple. Dic integer 1, then you can say mercy. Some dic integer 3, then you can say MIU. Some dic integer 7, Colombia. And then you can say print some dic okay, so that you have number 3 colon NYU, number 1 colon Mercy, number 7 colon Colombina. That's fine. Oh, that one. Okay. So those are the 3, or actually including tuple, 4 data types, right? So you have an array, set, dictionary. If you want to update, no, if you want to, yeah, you can add by that. If you want to update, for example, some dict dot update. See, update value. If you want to update, if you want to keep the same key but the value only, then you can do update value function. So if you click this, and here value, you can put Yale key is number 3. So now number 3. So if we want to do print some dict. Then previously number 3 is for NIU, now Yale. Okay. So some dict then it gives me Yale, number 3, right? Function. Function is nothing but self-contained code. So all the performing tasks should be in the function. And function defines function name and function definition. Once the function is defined, then it should be called, right? So function is executed. This is the thing. If you say func is a reserved word. Func. And this is the function name that you define. Function definition and function calls here in Swift is a little bit complicated than Python. Little bit more complicated than Java. Somehow, but not really, right? And if this function has one parameter, then you name that parameter. This is a parameter name, colon, and then type of that. And then arrow and greater than sign together. This is one symbol, arrow sign, and then string. Then this function takes name in string and do whatever the work inside, and then returns the value which is in string. So this is return type. If you define this function, this is definition, right? The way that you use, this is use. You use in this way. This is use. Student. Swift. You simply say Swift. But if you do not have this, then you have an error. You should have the variable. Swift is for what? Swift is a name. Or Swift is Xcode. Which is not the same as other languages, right? Not only that, yeah, some other cases that you have external type, and external type, if external type is specified, then you should use that external type. But here, I think it'll come sooner. This is nothing but the same as previous, right? So we have here num1 is 12, num2 is 25. So num1, num2 are used to call this function. Okay, add to integer. That is the function defined here. And then this function takes two integer in this name. So that name should be written when it is called. This is an array. Function takes an array. Function is takes an array of integer. So name is array, and type is integer array, and returns two things, large and small. Both are in integer. Okay. And internally, we do whatever, and then return two values. So when we call it, we call in this way, because we have to name it array here, and then we need to put the values, array of integer. Then it returns. What this program would do is it finds the biggest value and the smallest value, maximum and minimum, and return maximum and minimum. So we'll look at that. Oh, it's done. Okay, so let's practice function. So after we practice function, then we will take break. Okay, and after the break, yeah, we'll do app. Excited app design. Okay, function. We'll start with the func, reserve the word, and then we name two integers. So first that is int, and second that is int, and returns int. And what it returns is, I want to return first plus second. That's it. Right? This. Not first, but first. Okay. When we call it, we can call in this way. Print I wanted to look at this and then statements here. If we don't say this, then there is an error. But it says here, missing arguments label. So we need to put the arguments label. Say, first, second.
It's not practical.
What?
It's not practical.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, when you have a long code, and then you have your main and you have your function, you need to go and see each parameter that you choose on your function and do the same in the main so you can call them. So it's not very practical.
What do you, I
You
don't,
need to use the exact same parameter that you use in the function. Use them when you want to call each function. So I'm just saying that it's not practical on your code. It's a long code. With other language, you don't need to go and specify each parameter by their names.
I don't get you.
Okay. Here in Swift,
What do you mean by impractical?
it's not neat.
Huh?
It's not neat. Clean. You know, it's not. It's not.
No, this is the language in more complicated situation, then we will use it. In this simple example, we don't need. But if you do not want to, this is for example external label, and then we can say simply underscore. Okay, so that if you do not want to put that there, then you can say, hey, I have just arbitrary external type, both of these, then you don't need it. External means in smartphone, the data that you receive is not only within your smartphone memory. It should be come from anywhere in the world. So some complicated data needs to be handled. It's not like other language, Python, then there is a local. Here, so this is more try to make it extendable. Simple example like this, then this may make you confused, a little more confused, right? It's not really needed. Why do we need those types? But but in most complicated situation is taken care of this Swift. That is the reason Swift is powerful, and this kind of distinguishing the labels internal and external, internal label and external label is not available in other language like Java or Python. Java and Python do not need this. But if it is implemented in this way, then we need to follow this way. But this is new, right? New to you. There are a little bit of confusion, but
The underscore works with string and other variables also?
no, only int
Only integer.
is right. Yeah, that's what this function is defined, right?
No. How we do if we want to do string, for example? If the argument is string.
Then you need to have a string here, and then plus sign is not available, right?
But it's gonna work using underscore.
Concatenation. Let's try. Yeah. Let's say string, and then it's not automatic concatenation. See what is the error. Binary code plus cannot be applied to operands type string and integer. Right. This is another difference between, for example, Java. Right. Java plus sign can be used as an arithmetic operator and also concatenator, depending upon the parameter. But this doesn't do that. So in order to make it concatenate, plus sign is works concatenation. So if you want to change this to simply not integer but
str.
Are you sure str is the function?
Swift, I'm not sure, but I know
Yeah, don't. you need to give it to me the.
But it works for me. I did the.
Oh, if you do str.
No, I did 2 strings.
Oh yeah, a concatenator works, but yeah, if you have 2 strings, but this second one is integer, so you need to convert integer to string. How can you convert? I think possibly. Why not? So. Oh, function string simply. Plus cannot be applied to 2 string operands. Oh, here it should be string. Yeah, in this way it works. Mulsi plus 8768 equals, we call this function and we send the mercy and 8768, and what it returns is mercy 8768. I think it should work directly. Right? We don't need to. The previous, there is an error because we didn't change this. Okay. Another, yeah, array. We can call an array. Jerica, do you have an issue? Func and min max, minimum and maximum, that we want to take array in int and return. When we return max in integer and min in integer. Okay. Variable large equals array. Initially, the first element is large, and also first element is large, but we can update it in this for loop. For I in array 1 dot dot array count. Okay. So we use the first one. Remember that we send the multiple numbers in array. So we take the first one. Initially, we assume this is a maximum and this is a minimum. And then from the second element, by scanning the rest, we compare with the current large, current small. If it doesn't work, then we swap so that we maintain smallest and then the largest. And at the end, then we can say, hey, this is a minimum and this is a maximum. Okay, so we simply compare here. If I is less than small, then we can say what we learned from the second element I, that is smaller than the current assumption small. Then we need to swap. Small is not that one, and small is now I. Okay. Else, if I is greater than large, so there is a number greater than current large, then we need to again, reset the large to I. We need to do this until we finish all the elements, and then finally we return large and small. Okay, and we call it any number. 90, 23, minus 1, 89, 3, 89 again, 92, and minus 3, and 77, whatever that. It's not IS, this is min max. Min max. So that we can say, what is the value dot large? What is the value dot, oh, not large, min and value dot max? See here, if you look at this, value is returned from this function, but I receive it as one variable called the value. But according to the function definition, it returns dual values, max and min, so that I can access max and min separately. So max value of that array is 92, and the minimum value of that array is negative 3. That's what happens here, right? But if I put here, for example, negative 77, then it should negative 77 is the smallest, 92 is the biggest. Okay, if I put here 123, then it is changed. 123 is minimum, maximum, and this is minimum. Yeah? So cool, right? In this way, this is powerful. Java cannot do this. Java cannot return some multiple values. Python. Python can. Okay. Any question? Any comments? Anything impractical again? So that we need to make it practical. I know still it's not really clear when we have here underscore. See here underscore variable and type. This is external type. This is internal type. This is variable. I do not know yet clearly why that way, but somehow if you do not like it, when you use it initially the way that I showed to you, then we can do it in this way, right? Okay, so let's take a break. Okay. Okay. So a little bit more in playground. Then we will do some work. All right. The random number generator. Why random number generator is interesting in our app app development. As I said, if you have a list of some elements that you want to use, but you want to pick randomly one at a time, so that when user comes, then um, uh, every different time, user may receive a different notice, right? This will be posted. This one is not posted yet, right? Some of the work not posted yet, but I will figure out which ones so that I will post all the missing. So a lot of work during weekend. But anyway, so random number, according to the random number generated, we pick up different items. Particularly if you want to develop some game, okay, then then it needs some random number generation. The random number generator has been developed centuries, if not decades. Random numbers can be generated based upon platform. For example, Windows operating systems has its own random number generator. Linux or OS X, OS 10 has its own random number generator. Okay. And also language itself has its own random number generator. Java has its own random number generator. Python, oh yeah, yes. Python has its own random number generator. Swift has its own random number generator. So depending upon the platform or language, they have different generator, therefore different language. Let's stick to OS 10. Then OS 10 is a platform, so OS 10 is a kind of a Linux, right? So OS 10 has its own random number generator. But since OS 10 is using the very similar kernel or microkernel as standard distribution, the first standard distribution is Berkeley standard distribution or software distribution, so-called BSD. So UC Berkeley, when they first created Linux, they created a random number generator. And this OS 10 is another version, some of the drift from Berkeley version, but precisely the version used for OS 10 is Carnegie Mellon University version. Okay, that is NT, so-called. Next step. Next is kind of Linux Sun microsystems. So language standard, language based random number generator, particularly Objective-C, which is the ancestor of Swift. Swift, that's the language that we are using, has a random number generator that is arc for random. Arc for random. This is coming from Objective-C. So this is a language-dependent random number generator. As random number is generated, they use some distribution function. This arc for random uses uniform distribution function. So function name whole is arc for random underscore uniform. This will receive a seed number 10. When it receives number 10, then it generates number from 0 to what? 10, but 10 is excluded. If it is integer like this, then we know that it generates from 0, 1, 2. What is the integer close to 10, but 10 is not excluded? 9, right? If we do this. So that is a random number. So in particular case, as an example, if you want to take two numbers, okay, and first number and second number arbitrarily is a random number, and see what it is, right? You can make that. No, this is not. I think this is it. So let's take a look at random number generate, okay, in your playground. So for example, arc for random, if we do this, then it returns so big number, right? So if you do arc for random and then uniform, then there is an error because if you have a arc for random, then it generates some number. But if you use a uniform, that it needs a seed number. Okay, finally, see this, the random number generated by this function, arc4 random underscore uniform. If I give the seed number 99, right now number 88 is generated. If I give seed number 99, then it'll return, for example, return any number between 0 and 98, right? So what I'm going to do, so this time it returns 20. Every time when I do, it returns different number, 88, and again, and 57. Can we generate the random number um, using a loop? So let's try for in loop, for I in number 0 from 0 to let's say 100. All right, and then I can simply print an arc4 random underscore uniform, and the seed number comes from any number between 0 and number 100, but 100 is exclusive. If I want to make this is like a range for in a range. If I want to the number range, then I need to have 3 dots. Okay. And another thing that I need to, so if I do this, let's say if I do, and if I simply enter the number, then it can give me number from, yeah, it returns from 0 to yeah, 100. So everything in between this, right? In the range between 0 and 100. Both are inclusive. 0 and 100 are inclusive. But if I, instead of simply I, if I send I to this function as a seed, then this seed number needs to receive unsigned integer. So that we need to do unsigned int 32. That is a function that we need to enter this into there. All right. Then it can generate 101 the random number, 101 random 100. This will return display 101 random number. That random number should be any number given this seed. Okay, so what I will try to do, print an I. So we'll see the last two. So the random number generated, no, 100 is given. If we enter here 100 in this random number generator, then it returns a 61. And then when I enter 99, the random number generated 39. When I enter 98 as a seed number to random number generator, then it returns 41, and so on and so forth, right? So if you go somewhere here, then random number 17 is generated for the seed number 69. Random number 63 is generated for the seed number 70, that type of things. And again here, random number 10 is generated when seed number 20 is entered. Number 1 is generated when seed number 21 is given. 15 is generated when random number 19 is given, and 7 is generated for the seed number 18, and so on and so forth. All right. So the point here is that this random number receives unsigned integer, but because this is unknown value, although we know the value, but this program itself does not know, so we need to make sure that that is a unsigned integer. That's what we did here. Another point here is that if we want to work on the range, then range with the number, then we need to have triple dots in between the two numbers. All right, this is what we can say.